Isabel Montgomery sat in the dressing room, her long blonde hair cascading around her shoulders, glinting under the bright lights. She brushed through it absent-mindedly, her mind already racing with thoughts of her next big role. At 23, Isabel was at the peak of her career. Her phone constantly buzzed with offers for new movies and series. Producers and directors clamored to work with her. She was the face of the industry's newest generation. Talented, beautiful, and versatile. Her last role had just wrapped up after months of intense filming. The character had been challenging, the storyline complex, but Isabel had pulled it off with grace and dedication. Now, as she flipped through the script for her next project, she felt a familiar sense of excitement mixed with a bit of nervousness. It was the part that every actress dreamed of. A leading role in a film destined to be both critically acclaimed and a box office hit. The movie, Into the Abyss, was a gritty drama about a woman surviving in a harsh dystopian world. Isabel loved the rawness of the story, the emotional depth of the character. The protagonist's journey was filled with heartbreak, loss, and a fight for survival. Isabel could see herself fully immersing in the role, bringing the character to life with her own flair. She turned each page of the script eagerly until she reached a specific scene that made her freeze. Isabel blinked, reading the words again. Shaved completely? A knot formed in her stomach as she quickly skimmed through the rest of the script. Several scenes detailed her character with a bald head, describing the moment as a powerful turning point for the protagonist. She set the script down, her heart beating faster. "No way," she whispered to herself, standing up and pacing around the room. Her hair was one of her most cherished features. It wasn't just part of her appearance, it was part of her identity as an actress. She had built her brand around her ethereal beauty, often compared to the glamorous stars of old Hollywood. The idea of shaving it all off for a role felt extreme. Too extreme. Isabel grabbed her phone and called her agent, Sophie. "Hey, Sophie, I just got to the part in the script where they want me to go bald. Is this really necessary? Can't they use makeup or a bald cap or something?" Sophie sighed on the other end of the line. "I was waiting for this call," she admitted. "I spoke to the director, Aaron Parker, about it. He's firm on this, Isabel. He believes that a bald cap would look fake on screen, especially with the close-up shots he has planned. He wants authenticity, and he says that's what will make this film stand out." Isabel slumped into the chair, running a hand through her thick locks. "But I don't know if I can do it. I've never gone this far for a role before. This is permanent, at least for a while." "I understand," Sophie replied, her tone sympathetic. "It's a big decision. But think about what this film could mean for your career. You're already successful, yes, but this role could take you to another level. It's raw, gritty, and could show everyone just how far you're willing to go for your craft." Isabel bit her lip, her mind swirling with conflicting emotions. On one hand, she had always prided herself on committing fully to her roles, diving deep into the characters' psyches. But this was different. This was her hair, her image. Could she really bring herself to shave it all off? "Okay," she said finally, her voice shaky. "I'll talk to the director myself." Later that day, Isabel arrived at the production office, her stomach churning with nerves. She was escorted to Aaron Parker's office, where he sat surrounded by storyboards and concept art for the film. He greeted her with a warm smile. "Isabel, it's great to see you," he said, gesturing for her to take a seat. "I assume you've gone through the script?" "Yes," Isabel replied, forcing a smile. She decided to approach the topic directly. "I wanted to talk about the part where Sarah shaves her head. Is there any way we could achieve that look with makeup or a bald cap?" Aaron's expression grew serious. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. "I know it's a lot to ask, Isabel," he began, "but I need this scene to be real. The transformation your character goes through at that moment is pivotal. It's not just about the look. It's about the emotional and psychological weight of what she's doing. A bald cap wouldn't capture that. Audiences can tell when something is faked. I need them to believe it." Isabel looked down at her hands, her fingers twisting together nervously. "I understand," she said slowly. "But my hair. It's a big part of my image, my identity as an actress." "I get that," Aaron said, his voice gentle but firm. "But that's why this scene will be so powerful. It's about shedding that identity, about stripping away the things we hold on to reveal who we truly are. That's what makes Sarah's journey so compelling. I'm not asking this lightly, Isabel. I believe you're the only actress who can bring this character to life in the way it needs to be done. But I also need you to be fully committed." Isabel felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. She had always been praised for her dedication to her roles, for the depth and authenticity she brought to each character. And here was a director offering her a chance to push her boundaries, to take on a challenge that could redefine her career. But the cost? "Okay," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I'll do it." Aaron's eyes softened, and he nodded. "I know it's a huge sacrifice, and I promise we'll make this moment as meaningful as it deserves to be. You won't regret it." After leaving the office, Isabel walked down the street in a daze. She couldn't believe she had agreed to shave her head. The thought of being bald made her feel exposed, vulnerable, and almost naked. Her hair had always been a symbol of her femininity, her beauty. How would she feel without it? The next few days passed in a blur of rehearsals and fittings. The scene where her character, Sarah, would shave her head loomed over her like a dark cloud. Isabel tried to prepare herself mentally, but every time she looked in the mirror, she was struck by doubt. Could she really go through with this? Finally, the day arrived. Isabel sat in the makeup trailer, staring at her reflection. Her blonde hair had been washed and dried, falling around her shoulders like a golden veil. The hairstylist, a kind woman named Marie, stood behind her, holding a set of clippers. "Are you ready?" Marie asked gently, meeting Isabel's eyes in the mirror. "No," Isabel admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "But I'm going to do it anyway." Marie nodded, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You're brave, you know that? This takes real courage." Isabel gave a shaky nod, blinking back tears. "Let's just get it over with." Marie switched on the clippers and the buzzing sound filled the room. Isabel closed her eyes, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt the clippers touch the nape of her neck, and as they made the first pass, she felt a jolt of fear and sadness wash over her. Her eyes flew open, and she watched in horror as the clippers moved up her scalp, leaving a path of bare skin in their wake. Chunks of her blonde hair fell to the floor, like pieces of her past being stripped away. Tears streamed down her cheeks as Marie continued, each pass of the clippers sending a fresh wave of emotions through Isabel. She felt vulnerable, raw, and strangely liberated all at once. When it was over, she sat there, her head smooth and bare, her face flushed and tear-streaked. Marie turned off the clippers and stepped back. "It's done," she said softly. "You look stunning." Isabel forced herself to look in the mirror. The woman staring back at her was almost unrecognizable. She was bald, her scalp glistening under the lights. Her eyes seemed larger, more intense, and her features more defined. It was a shocking transformation, one that made her feel as though she had shed an old skin. She touched her scalp tentatively, feeling the smoothness. It was strange, alien, and yet, it was her. She was still Isabel, still the actress who had given everything for her craft. A sense of pride began to replace the fear. She had done it. She had taken the plunge for her role, and now there was no turning back. The filming for Into the Abyss resumed, and Isabel threw herself into the role with a new level of commitment. The scene where Sarah shaved her head was filmed with raw emotion, capturing the vulnerability and strength of her character. Isabel's performance was haunting, drawing on the real emotions she had felt during her own transformation. As the weeks went on, Isabel adjusted to her new appearance. The initial shock faded, and she began to embrace the look. She walked around the set with her bald head held high, radiating a newfound confidence. People on set admired her bravery, and she found herself receiving compliments that went beyond her physical beauty. They praised her courage, her dedication, and her willingness to take risks for her art. When the film was finally completed, it premiered to rave reviews. Audiences and critics alike were captivated by Isabel's performance. The scene where she shaved her head became one of the most talked about moments in the movie. Praised for its authenticity and emotional impact, Isabel sat in the theater, tears of pride welling up in her eyes as she listened to the applause. She had doubted herself, feared the change, but she had taken the risk and it had paid off. The film was a success, and so was she. Months after the premiere, her hair began to grow back, and with it, a new sense of confidence. She looked back on the experience not with regret, but with a sense of accomplishment. She had pushed her boundaries, sacrificed something dear, and emerged stronger for it. Isabel learned that being an actress wasn't just about looking the part. It was about embracing the essence of a character, no matter how difficult it might be. She realized that beauty wasn't defined by hair or outward appearances, but by the strength and courage to be true to oneself.